Alrighty, guys. Hey, thank you for checking in on me. For those of you returning, and for those of you that are new to my channel. So, listen, guys. Look, I got my rag ready, but there's an overcast here in Arizona, so I don't think there's gonna be. It feels nice. It does. It feels nice out here, but I have my rag just in case. He called her a rag. So guys, what do I want to talk about? So, one more time, if you're new, welcome. But let me tell you this. If you don't like to read, you're not going to like me. Look. Well, I will say this. You can only love me or hate me, and I'm fine with either. The great God of heaven didn't mention anything about liking anybody. You're either going to love them or you're going to hate them. That's it, and that's all. Hold on, let me get my chapstick. So, I've already got my drink. So, what do I want to talk about? So, lately I've been discussing helping people. People that are helpers tend to get taken advantage of quite a bit. So, I'm just looking at a message that just popped up on my screen. So we have to use wisdom in helping people. But nevertheless, so I want to dive into I posted a video the other day regarding somebody that had sent me a message about needing some assistance, right? They just gave me this sad story. Hold on, it wasn't even about needing assistance. Let me rephrase that. This person I have assisted out of my own free will in times past. The person didn't have to ask. So nevertheless, on this occasion, the person reaches out to me and tells me a sad story. As if it's going to give me an unction to assist, right? So I referred the person, they're concerned about food, they're concerned about gas. So I refer the person over to some resources, right? The person doesn't want to go. Now, I've mentioned this in the previous video. Two things can have taken place. When a person or a group of people don't want to go to a resource that assists with such needs, two things could have taken place. They've already burnt their bridges with that organization or with that person or agency or whatever the case. So either they've burnt the bridges, they've exhausted all of the opportunities to receive assistance, or they are refusing to provide information or documents or something to the agency in order to continue receiving assistance. Now, the majority of programs, when you don't when you don't meet all of their criteria, it's not that they'll turn you away. It's just that they're going to give you the bare minimum of what they otherwise would offer you if you had everything all together, right? So, nevertheless, this individual tells me this sad story. They don't want to go out to the... Okay, well, guess what? This is what my response is. Well, you know what? Gas is getting expensive, and so is food. Well, what you want me to say, right? Because I've been watching how you operate. I've been watching how you slide. And from observation, I ain't with it, right? So nevertheless, the individual wants to do all of these things. They want to climb Mount Everest. They want to run a marathon. They want to design a dress. They want to design a building. They want to, I don't know, develop an acre of land, right? They want to write a book. They want to write a song. They want to learn how to play an instrument, right? Okay, well, here's my response. Pick one and just focus on that, okay? Just focus on that. And this goes to all of you, too, who tend to do such things. Just focus on one thing and get that done. Now, I will say this. This is why I encourage people to read, because I'm going to further demonstrate why reading is important. Okay. A formal education is not for everyone. Okay? It's not. Some people can't even sit in they can't sit in a structured environment for 3 months, let alone 6 months. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to pursue an academic education that's going to require 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, 4 years. Let's just focus on getting through the week. For some people, that's what it requires. What do you have to do for the week? Do you have assignments for the week? Focus on that. Okay? So let's not even dive into 4 years from now, 5 years from now. Let's just focus on accomplishing this goal. Have this goal for the week. And that little goal is going to lead up to other major goals that you didn't even realize you were fulfilling because your attention focused on the step-by-step versus the whole entire frame of it all, if that makes sense. So, a formal education is not meant for everybody. Are there successful? Yeah, there's many, many, many successful people that have contributed to the community, to society, to the world without having a formal education, right? You don't need a formal education to make X amount of dollars. I mean, just look at a lot of these YouTubers. These guys are idiots. Absolute uneducated, illiterate idiots. And they're thousandaires, 100,000aires, millionaires, and they're stupid, right? They don't got a formal education. So don't think you have to have a formal education. But I will say this. To that population that does have a formal education, the one advantage that particular group possesses is that a formal education not just equips you with the knowledge for whatever the focus is or whatever the major is, right? Or whatever the specialty is. In pursuing that degree or, whatever, a formal education also equips those particular individuals with the skills of being able to extract, to obtain, to solicit, to gather, to collect information, and any information that's given to them. A formal education has equipped them with the skills to break down and, separate said information to get to the crux of what they need to know. That's basically a formal education teaches an individual how to continue becoming educated, how to continue learning outside of the formal education setting. That's the advantage to individuals. So you just can't tell them anything. They've been equipped with that skill through the formal education setting. It's taught them how to think and how to dissect and how to differentiate and all of those things regarding information and how to get to the relevance of what is being discussed, right? Okay. So, this individual who wants to do all of these things, so as I had stated, they came at me again they were all excited. Oh, my friend just told me about a project and let me know that I would be the ideal candidate for said project, right? I'm not even in your field. And I know what your friend just told you is not enough information to get excited about. Right? So I said to the person, and what else? What else information? What else is there? Besides, there's a project. What else? Right? They don't know. I'm not even in your field, and I know that I need more information than that. Okay, so the individual then says that they would be able to provide a service in this project and to others in relation to this project if they had A, right? If they had A, they can then do B, right? And so I let the person know. I said, you could have already had A. You could have A within the month. I know this for a fact that you can have A. So they're going to turn around and tell me, how? That seems impossible. Exactly. To you. It's impossible to you. So I let them know. I said, you are 100% dependent. That's what you are. That's why all of these things that you want to do, you're not doing because you're dependent. You don't want to put in no work. You don't want to make any changes to improve your circumstance. All you want is somebody to just give you the answer, but you don't want to do the work to extract the answer, to conclude the answer, to determine the answer. You don't want to do none of that, right? I said you're dependent. That's it and that's all. You're a dependent person. So I said, I'm not going to entertain your daydreams. I'm not. Pick one thing and do it. So nevertheless, I have the answer. Yeah, I have the answer. I'm not going to give it to them. You tell me the answer. You put in the work and get the answer as to how you can have A. Right? Oh, now I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy because you can't just pull the wool over my eyes. Like I said, I've been watching how you slide in these streets and you move funny. And I ain't with it. So nevertheless, so I finished reading this book. One more time, we're looping back around to reading. So I finished reading this book from this doctor. He's a psychiatrist. And he's discussing this particular person. Now, I didn't start reading the book because of the person. I started reading the book because I'm interested. Like I said, human behavior, that's me all day. That's me all day. So, nevertheless, that's why I got the book. The book just happened to start discussing that particular individual. So, I let them know. I said, you know what? I said, I just finished reading a book. And according to the psychiatrist, you demonstrate game playing 4 different type of games. What are those games? Well, the first game is where the person essentially just discusses all of their problems, all of their challenges, all of the hardships, all of the suffering. Basically, woe is me, right? That's what they talk about. To anybody that'll listen. And the listening party will then give them a solution, but they'll reject the solution. I'm going to give you an example. My tire is flat, right? So your solution would then be, go put air in the tire. That's your solution, right? I would then turn around and say, I don't have a pump. Your solution would then be, go across the street to the neighbor and ask them for the pump. My response would then be, I can't because the neighbor doesn't like me. So your solution would then be, go to another neighbor. Well, my other neighbors are on vacation. Do you see what I'm saying? And so that's what this individual does. This individual presents all of the problems. You provide the solution. The individual would then shoot down every solution, not having done any of them. Okay, so that's one game. The next game is called indigence. So basically, the individuals like this, they go about in the world in a needy state. Dependent, as I said, dependent and needy, right? So they'll go around in a dependent state to others, an agency, a government, an organization, and they will be needy, dependent, right? And that group will provide for them as long as they are needy, until the others, agency, organization, government, then turns around and makes a request of them, and that is to do some work. Demonstrate some evidence that you are putting in work to improve your situation of coming from dependency into independence. At that stage, the individual is then going to find fault with that group, with the agency, with the government, with the organization, or with the others that'll listen and assist them in being needy, right? Okay, so that's the second game, right? Oh, but hold on. So once they're done, okay, so once they're required, say for example, I'm the one, right? They want me to support them as long as they're in need. But when I turn around and say, I need to see you clean up your yard, then they find fault with me and they'll go someplace else and they'll seek out another group that's ignorant to how they slide and do the same thing. And they'll bounce around, which is one more time how we got to the conclusion of they've exhausted all of their resources, or they don't want to provide something for these referrals, these other resources to get help for their situation. Because the agencies that they've been working with are asking them for something and they don't want to give it. So they'd rather go and find another agency that's ignorant to how they move, and so they'll start all over again. So it's a continuum, right? Okay. So then the third game that people play is called wooden leg. What is wooden leg? Well, wooden leg is, take for example, I need a job, but I need glasses, right? I can't work there. I need glasses, right? So my issue is I have a need which is employment, but I will then use a wooden leg or a crutch or anything to justify why I can't work there. Well, I can't work there because I'm too short. Well, I can't work there because I don't speak 5 languages. Well, I can't work there because, you see, and so on and so forth. Okay, so then the 4th game is called archaeology. All my problems will be fixed. My life will be fixed if I can just find someone, or if I can just find something, and all my life will be better. You know, if I could just find somebody to give me a job. I don't have to qualify for the job, just give it to me. My life will be better if somebody would just fill up my gas tank every week. My life would be so much better. My life will be better if I could find somebody to just give me the money. Just give it to me. My life will be better if somebody would just give me the answer. I don't want to seek out the answer. I don't want to put in the work to get the solution. Just give it to me, right? I want to ride the bike, but I don't want to put it together, basically. I want to ride the bike, but I don't want to pedal. Does that make sense? So hence the name archaeology, because the person is continuously looking for something that will just give it to them and all their life will be better. And so then they toggle between each of those stages. So I let the person know, that's you. That's you. And guess what? I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy because I ain't going for it. That ain't happening. You can't give me a serpent and tell me it's a fish, is what I'm saying. You can't piss on me and tell me it's raining. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So that's what the person is upset about. First of all, I have issues within my own life. Why would I want to adopt yours? People don't want to support people who don't support themselves. People don't care about people's problems when they don't care about improvement themselves. If you don't care, I don't care. The less you care, the better for me. Because that's saving me some energy. As long as I can see that you don't care, great. And I'm going to keep focusing on what I do care about, if that makes sense. So nevertheless, the person is looking for some. I'm gonna give you an example. So the individual has an issue. Someone came in, Joe Schmo came in and said, hey, I will do A if you can locate someone to do B. My A is here. Joe Schmo. This is Joe Schmo talking. My A is here. Joe Schmo is new. Joe Schmo just met the person. Well, nevertheless, this individual attempted to locate a person to do B and was denied. Even though options were provided, they weren't getting the answer that they wanted. So they rejected. One more time, back to game number 1, right? So then, so Joe Schmo is observing this. And I'm observing it also, right? And so I said, what became of that? You got Joe Schmo sitting here waiting on you to secure B, and because you couldn't get, you just stopped. What happened? What's going on? Guess what? They are avoiding Joe Schmo now because Joe Schmo was quick enough to identify that they're a game player, that this is their thing. They're going to go, look, if they got to go throughout the whole city to run this gambit, that's what they're going to do. And then when they're done in the city, they're going to move to another city and run the same gambit. And if they have to do it throughout the whole entire state of Arizona, that's what they're going to do until they've exhausted and burnt all the bridges. Then they're going to move to another state and run the same gambit. Okay? So, one more time, let me go ahead and share with you the book so you can read it for yourself and get yourself some knowledge, okay? The book is The Games People Play by Dr. Eric Berne. And it's a quick read, too. It's so good. Anyway, with that being said, you guys have an excellent day. Don't forget to get your coffees and subscribe and like. But yeah, so yeah, continue reading and educating yourselves, all right? Okay, thank you for listening, guys.